love you, bitch.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. So today's video is a little bit different than things that I have covered in the past, but I do get a lot of questions about it, so I'm kind of making it a series, and that series is about my college experience, my study abroad experience, and moving after college. So this video is about college, and the next video will be about studying abroad, and then the third one will be about moving. And so, yeah, I mean, that's all there is really to say about it. Let's just get into it, I guess. Now, unfortunately in America, the financial aspect of going to college is a very, important thing. And so I want it just kind of out in the open that I paid for my tuition with student loan or with federal loans and private student loans. And but then my parents, they paid for all my books and supplies and all of that kind of stuff. And then my dad, he paid for what FAFSA wouldn't cover, I think for my last year and a half of college. So I wouldn't have to take out any more private loans. I am an only child, and I am extremely fortunate, and my parents are the best. And I just want that kind of out there, that I did have a significant amount of help going to college. And I also want to put it out there too, that this is not me saying that I am pro college. I personally don't think college is for everybody, and I don't think everybody has to go to college to be successful, clearly. But I just, yeah, I get a lot of questions about my college, study abroad, moving experience, and so that's why I'm doing these. Disclaimers out of the way, let's get into it. I am from a town in Michigan called Marquette, and it is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and it's super small, but there is a university there. And it's actually pretty decently sized. It's small, but it's not super duper small in terms of a university, I don't think. Throughout high school, I was dead set on going somewhere else for school. And then my chronic fatigue happened, and I kind of decided to stay home. At least for the beginning, but then I just wound up staying the whole time. I always thought I would go into something relating to fashion. I say as I'm in my my college sweatshirt. I always thought I would go into something relating to fashion. I wanted to be a stylist for a really long time. But then after I decided to go to my college at home, I kind of had to reevaluate things because our art program did not have a fashion program. And so I took a computer art class. Big ups to Miss Carr if she ever watches this video. I took a computer art class my senior year of high school, and I distinctly remember being oh, I like this. I could do this for a living. And after that, I knew I wanted to major in graphic design. And I had also kind of teetered with the idea of, oh my god, my nose. I'd also kind of teetered with the idea of doing something with theater, because I did theater my whole life, pretty much. Childhood through high school, I was in theater. I thought about minoring in theater just for fun, but I didn't do that because I knew theater was a full-time job. And even when you were minoring in it, and I didn't want to half-ass anything because that never gets you anywhere in theaters. So I actually went in. I was weird in college, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. The only thing that changed was I went in thinking I was going to minor in PR, and I took one class for it. And then I just got off track with it, and it was going to keep me in college for too long. And yeah, so I just dropped it because art majors didn't need minors. So the school I went to was called Northern Michigan University. And it, like I said, it's pretty small, but it has a banging nursing program. So a lot of people come there for the nursing program. And in hindsight, I'm really happy I wound up just staying at home for college because it saved me a lot of money. Because I didn't have to pay room and board because I just lived at home. So then I was able to kind of put what I would have spent towards room and board, like that's how I rationalized it, and I studied abroad. And so because it was about the same cost, unfortunately. For the majority of my schooling, I took 12 credits a semester, which is just what you need to be a full-time student. And I think one semester I took 14 credits and it was fine, but yeah, I took 12 credits a semester. And this was mainly because of my chronic fatigue and my chronic illness. I wanted to make it manageable for myself. But again, in hindsight, I'm really, really happy I did this because I feel like it allowed me to really focus on what I was learning in my classes as opposed to just like trying to get a bunch of shit done. And it also allowed me to be in extracurriculars, which is like my biggest piece of advice for people going into college is to enter into extracurriculars because that is where you'll make your friends and that's where you're going to have fun in school. Like I did a ton of wackadoodle projects and I met a lot of really cool people in my classes and I'm still friends with a lot of them to this day. But I really, really, really got a whole college experience because I was in extracurriculars. And I was really only in one extracurricular, to be honest. It was called Northern Arts and Entertainment, and we brought the concerts to our campus. And so I knew that I wanted to be in that group like my freshman year because growing up in Marquette, I had been to concerts that they put on. So I was like, I want to be in this. And I was in it my entire college career, and I was president of it too, and I learned so much about how to be a professional in that group, and I met some of like my lifelong friends in that group as well, and I got to meet so many cool people like musical acts, and being a theater kid, and I was a technical theater kid, so I really, really enjoyed the production aspect of it as well. And yeah, I got to do a lot of fun things in that. I helped put on like a whole festival, which was something we never did before. And yeah, I can't recommend extracurriculars enough. And I can't recommend balancing out your class load with extracurriculars because I feel like the two are very important. It's kind of like in high school, I didn't take any AP classes, but that was because I was involved in so much shit outside of school that I knew I would never be able to like balance it. And so I kind of treated it the same way in college, and I don't regret it for a second, and I cannot recommend extracurriculars, student organizations enough. Like I said, I was really weird and I knew exactly what I wanted to do going into college. And so I started off with a graphic design path, and that's what I wrote until the end. I loved and hated it all at the same time. It was stressful, but it was very enriching, as college is, you know. I also went to 2 graphic design conferences, and at those I met one of each of my idols at both of them, and it was so cool, and I learned so much about design and what I was studying and all that. And I have a lot of friends that went to things like that who weren't even art majors, and but they went for their concentration and they got so much out of it too. And a lot of the times the school paid for us to go. I would definitely recommend seeking out those opportunities as well, because that was like, those are like some of the highlights of my college career besides studying abroad. But besides studying abroad, the conferences and all of those kinds of things were definitely the highlights of my college experience, because I learned so much at them, and I got to meet so many cool people at them too. And it was really cool because a lot of the people there were professionals already. They were out of college, or they never went to college, but they were working professionally, and so you really got to pick their brain about it. And yeah, so I really recommend looking out for those opportunities if you go to college, because you will learn so much. I also had a design job on campus, and this is another thing I would recommend, is if it's possible, get some sort of like work study or job or internship in your concentration on for your school. I honestly learned so much in that job. I would argue more than I learned in my actual classes because it was a practical application. And I got so many cool opportunities with it too, because it was a design job. I worked for my college's dining services office, and in this job I got to do a whole bunch of cool marketing things, including a whole campaign surrounding giving chickens personalities to support or to promote our local egg provider. That was really fun. I got to rebrand and redesign an entire restaurant, and I also got to be a very important part and a very big part in the design of a remodel of one of 2 big dining halls on campus. I got to design like 4 different stations, and I don't doubt for a second that I worked there for 2 years, that my experience there is what ultimately helped me get a job so quickly after college. I have no doubt in my mind that was one of the main contributing factors. So I know it's kind of like work study and stuff is kind of like a privilege and everything, and this wasn't even a work study, it was just a job. But I highly recommend trying to get a job in your field, or like a work study in your field or in your department on campus, because they're really flexible with your class schedules. You make money and you gain all that experience. I loved my job on campus. It was really fun, and I got to do so many cool things. Because I took 12 credits a semester, I did graduate a little bit later. I ended up being in school for 5 years. So I started in August of 2014 and I graduated in May of 2019. But like I said, I'm really happy I did that because I feel like I got the most out of school that I could have. I kind of gave advice throughout this entire video, but I did write some points down. And my 2 main things are take it slow and don't rush into a major, because I think college can be an insane waste of money if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know what you want to do. Sorry. So my big piece of advice, and this is from hearing friends' accounts and stuff, because like I said, I was really weird and I knew what I wanted to do, but I would recommend just focusing on if you're going to a liberal arts school, start with your liberals and put your feelers out for what you want to do. So at least that way you have your liberals under your belt, and then once you finally decide what you'd like to do, if you want to continue on in college, you have all those out of the way. And it hasn't been wasted time or money. I personally I did a balance of art and liberals every semester because I needed an art class to keep me sane. That's just how I was. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I don't think there's any harm in starting college immediately after high school. But if you don't know what you want to do, definitely just start off with liberal arts classes, because then you can take classes in a variety of different topics and you can meet so many people, and I think that is a great way to kind of figure out what you're all about and what you want to do. And when I say take it slow, I highly recommend not cramming a whole bunch of credits into each of your semesters. I know it'll ultimately make you be in college longer, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean you're stupid. And honestly, not to toot my own horn, but I was usually one of the top kids in my classes, in my art classes anyways, because I was able to take that time and really focus on a project and really learn what I was supposed to be learning out of a project. And it only helped me. And so if you can swing it, I would highly recommend taking 14 credits a semester, 12 or 14 credits a semester, because I had friends who would take 20 credits a semester and they would just be going a million miles an hour, never breathing, which honestly I kind of was too, but that was because I was involved in a lot of stuff too. But yeah, I would really recommend slowing it down and like just focusing on what you're learning, because ultimately that's what you're in college for, right? And this is especially, and my next video is going to be about studying abroad. This is especially if you're in a small town and you are still going to school in that small town, or if you're even just going to school the same place you grew up. If you can swing it, study abroad. It is hands down the best thing I did for myself in college. Personally, professionally, academically, all of it. I tell everybody that is when my college experience just flourished, because I grew and I learned so much about myself and so much about what I wanted to do that it was expensive. And you'll learn about that in the next video. But in my opinion, it was worth every single penny. And so if you can swing it, try and study abroad, because it is an invaluable experience. And my last piece of advice is just like, have fun and don't take yourself too seriously. Like, enjoy it. College is fun. Like, college is way better than high school, and way less intimidating than high school, and way less intimidating than high school makes it out to be. I feel like I was told so many times in high school that like if you were late for a class, like your professor was just gonna lock the door and you weren't allowed in, and blah blah. Like, they made college seem like this big scary thing in high school, when college is probably one of the most laid back experiences if you make it that way, depending on what you major into. But like, have fun with it. Like, learn about yourself, learn about different things. Like, even if it's not something you're studying, just go like learn about stuff. There's always opportunities on campus, I can guarantee you. Get involved. Don't take yourself too seriously, and just have fun. Like, college is so fun, and I miss it a lot sometimes, and just enjoy it. That's like my big piece of advice. But I did ask you guys on my community tab and on Instagram if you guys had any questions for me regarding college or moving or studying abroad, and so I'm gonna go dig for some college related questions. I think a lot of them had to do with studying abroad, but we'll still go look. Someone says student loans and how to pay them off ASAP. Dude, if you have the answer to that, if anybody has the answer to that, please let me know, because I will be paying student loans for the next 20 years of my life. I am about $65,000 in debt from college, and with my loans, I will have paid over $100,000 in loans. And that actually brings up a point that I wanted to bring up. Once you are done and once you are out of that grace period for your student loans, if that's how you pay for school, consolidate your loans. Because like I said, I had federal loans and I had private loans. And so my federal loans, though, still were like not great, because my dad works for the state of Michigan. And so they automatically assume like if your parents work for the state, like you're loaded and they have enough money to help you go to school, which was not the case, which is fine. I wasn't expecting that. But so my loans were unsubsidized. So they started earning interest the second I took them out. Subsidized loans, they earn interest after you're done with college. Mine were just earning interest the entire time I was in school. So yeah, but once my grace period ended, before I consolidated and refinanced my loans, I was going to be paying about $750 a month in student loans, which was fucking ridiculous. And I could go on forever about the unethicalness of student loans in America and how it's just become a business at this point, and it's disgusting. And how they make it pretty much necessary for anybody who wants to get a job to have some sort of formal education, but they make it so fucking expensive. Sorry, I could go off on that. I could go off about that forever. But consolidate your loans. Because I was able to get my payment down from $750-ish between private and student and federal loans to now it's $471. I got quite a few questions on like making friends in college and like social anxiety and stuff. And I totally get that. But I have always been a social butterfly. I will talk to anybody. I will make a friend out of anybody. That's kind of just how I am. But my number one tip for making friends in college, like I said, is join student organizations, because there are so many specific, like oddly specific student organizations on college campuses that like you can find a group of people that is interested in anything you are interested in. And that's like one of the coolest parts about college. And so I made some of my very best friends in my student org. And so join a student org, that's like my big thing. And as for like just being anxious about being social and making friends in college, just remember everybody's really weird in college. Like, because nobody gives a fuck. Like, you're going from high school to college. In high school, my class was not like this, from my perspective anyway. My class was not super cliquey in high school. But I know that's a big thing in a lot of different high schools. But when you go to college, none of that shit matters. And I can tell you that with absolute certainty. None of that matters, because you will find your bubble. And even if you're not looking for it, you'll find it. You'll find it in your classes. You'll find it in any extracurriculars you do. You'll find it in your job. Like, everybody's really, really weird in college. And I think it's just because everybody is, like, passionate about what they're learning about. And so you get to meet like-minded people. And so, like, I saw this meme once, and it was like, sees person in Snuggie and Heelys sees person riding around in a Snuggie and Heelys. High school me, wow, that person's really weird. College me, wow, that guy's really got it figured out. Like, it's just the truth. Like, nobody cares. And if you judge people and you're in college, like, just stop. Because, like, everybody's doing their own thing in college, and everybody's college experience is so personal to themselves that, like, it's just a waste of time. Honestly, it's just a waste of time. And yeah, so in terms of making friends, it just happens. And I can promise you that it just happens. Like, some of the kids that I went to high school with that were very quiet became some of the most talkative, extroverted people in college, because they made like friends, and they made friends who liked the same things they did because they were all studying it together. So don't stress out too much about making friends, because that will come just naturally. And remember, everybody's a fucking weirdo in college. Like, that's just how it is. Everybody's weird because everybody's super passionate about what they're studying, or like they're just dicking around because they're in college, and that's fun too. So like, everybody's weird in college, and don't worry about being weird. And you will make friends, I promise. Any tips for someone who is doing the typical 4+ year path for the first time at nearly 30? Have no shame, dude. Like, no shame. I had people who were older in my classes too, and honestly, they were some of my favorite people. Like, I loved talking to them because they just had a different perspective on everything, because a lot of times they had like kids, and so they just had like a totally different perspective on everything, and I loved them. And don't worry about judgment, because I can guarantee you nobody cares. None of the kids care. I can tell you that right now. And do what you have to do. And honestly, I think going back to school when you are like a non-traditional age is a great thing. And I think it should be normalized more, because I think forcing an 18-year-old to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their life is really weird. And so I don't think there is any shame in like life taking its own turns for you, and then you going back to school when you're 30. I don't see any issue with that. And honestly, get involved too. I don't think anybody would care about, I know nobody would care about your age if you got involved in student organizations, because you are a student. And also, because you are 30, I'm sure you've already done this, but look up non-traditional student scholarships, because they are out there. There's so many out there, and you can get a lot of money for going back to school as a non-traditionally aged student. yeah. But like, just enjoy it. Like, you're going to college. You didn't get to do it before. You didn't do it at the same time as people normally do it, but who the fuck cares? Like, just go have fun. It's college. And learn, and don't feel any shame or embarrassment for being older, because I had people who were in their 70s in some of my classes, and I'm not joking. And I don't think there's ever a wrong time to go learn stuff and to go do college things. So, yeah. Soapbox done. But good for you. Like, honestly, that's awesome. So those are all the questions I got just about college in general. And so that's all I really have to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's kind of like different. It's not weight loss related, but that's okay. If you guys have any questions like about college or anything, leave them down below. I'll most likely answer. And yeah, if you guys want any more of me, all my links will be down below. The links to my Patreon, my Etsy store / merch store, the links to my Discord, which is an amazing place, and all my social links will be down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. I am planning on... So right now I'm doing like this pouch reset kind of thing, like it's a diet for this week, and I've been vlogging that. So Saturday's video will be that, but next week, Wednesday and Saturday will be study abroad and then moving. So I'm just gonna bang these out like as fast as I can, so you have all the content. But yeah, okay, I will see you in the next one. I love you, and bye.